some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening. Welcome to Stupid O'Clock. Yes.
Joe Dog's still sick. Chris is on his way, but he said he might be a little bit late. Still trying to get over the flu myself, but we're here.
Let's see here. Oh, first of all, apologies for not being on the show for so long. I have gotten a new computer. Real nice gaming computer, sort of donated to me. So, anyway, my problem with the new computer is A, it's desktop, so you can do all that stuff. B, I don't have any gizmos for it yet. So no camera, no microphone, no speakers, none of that stuff. So I can't do the show on the new computer yet. Now, I have tried on several occasions to get on the show, but the problem is I've had to put all my permissions for Microsoft Edge, Facebook, Discord, all that sort of stuff on the new computer. And when I try to bring up my little laptop here that I used to do the show on, it doesn't want to run any of those things because the permissions are on the new computer. So it said, you don't have permission to use Microsoft Edge for John Scarborough. And you don't have permission to use Discord for John Scarborough. And you don't have permission to use, so on and so forth. So, excuse me. So I'm having to figure all that stuff out. And it's Windows 11. This is Windows 10. And never the twain shall meet. So, here I is. All right. Let's see who all we got here tonight.
Daniel Berry.
Hey, Daniel. Let's see who else. Dawn and Chris aren't here yet. I figured Dawn would be here.
Not here.
Okay. And the
might
bad
be on
part
one
is,
of the other channels.
I was going to invite Zach, but I just realized I don't have Discord permissions on this computer right now, so I can't send him an invite.
Yeah.
And I noticed he's been doing a lot more rocket stuff now. Apparently, he's doing a lot better. So,
well, that's good.
He actually sent a picture of him at. He went to I'm not whichever one has the Star Wars experience. I'm not sure if that's Universal or Disney.
I think it's
is that
Universal.
Disney?
I don't know.
I'm not. I think it's Disney, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he showed a picture of himself standing in front of the Millennium Falcon, and their thing. And I had to break the news to him that one won't actually launch. So it's just a prop. Oh, there we go. Joe Dog says Zach has a launch in 14 minutes. What are they launching, Joe? Is it? Oh well. Anyway, let's see. There's that, and I've gotten a cold this week, so I've been stuffy as hell. In case some of you don't notice. Oh, speaking of, so give you an example. I've got this incredible sinus pressure thing going on, and it's causing me two problems other than breathing or not the lack thereof. Oh, there's Starlink launch. Okay.
Okay.
A, my head's all stuffy. I can't breathe. B, the pressure behind my eyes is hurting my eyes. So I can't stare at computer screens for very long, even with my reader glasses. And which is why I'm not wearing them tonight. And B, okay, I have tinnitus from being in the military. And I also have sensitive ears. So the tinnitus doesn't normally bother me because I can hear right over the top of it. But with all the sinus pressure, my tinnitus has been increased by like a factor of 4. And like I said, I don't have speakers for the new computer. So whenever I'm doing gaming, I have to put on a headset. And headsets and tinnitus do not go well together. So I can
well understand.
I've been having horrible headaches because of it. So I've actually had to quit gaming for like the last 3 days. Just because I can't stand to have the headset sitting on my head.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I've been rather bored. I'll tell you 2 things I've done recently that are pretty cool. We had backyard butchers come into town. They came into Ringgold, and they set up in the Advanced Auto Parts parking lot with a big freezer truck, and they sell discount meat. Which I'm a little bit leery about those sort of things, but this one seemed really nice. And they actually had a big ad campaign on Facebook. So, I checked it out. And of course, I went over there, and they were offering 30 ribeyes for $40. Oh, good night, Joe. Thanks for stopping.
Good night, Joe Dog.
Okay. And they were offering 30 ribeyes for $40, which was kind of nice. They're small, but they're good. Okay. So, but $2, $1.50 a rib, $2 a ribeye isn't, horrible, even for small one. Considering your average ribeye in your grocery store is $20. 10 or 20 somewhere there, depends on what size there. And so I went in to get it's 2 boxes, 10 in each box. I'm gonna get that. Of course, they try to. It's kind of like Amway. They try and sell you something else.
Yeah.
And all their chicken was marinated, so I was like, no, I like marinating my own chicken. And then all their seafood was kind of, I'm not. I can do better on seafood too. Steaks were okay, but they had a box of steaks, and their value on it was like $250. It's nice and all that. I'll have to ask my people at home if I can spend the money on it. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $100 off on it right now, and the ribeyes. I love that offer, but I'm really going to have to ask everybody at home because this is the family credit card, and I don't want to put that kind of money on a family credit card. Just tell you what, I'll let you have the whole thing for $100. Deal. And so it went from $250 down to $100, and it's some decent meat. It's nothing. It's not. It's not exemplary, but it's good. So I'm not okay. So I now have a deep freezer full of steaks and stuff. So I should be good for the summer. And what's nice about it is all their meats come in vacuum bags, sealed, and it's supposed to be good in the deep freezer for 2 years.
Ooh, yeah.
So we should be good all summer. And then the other thing I did was Ingles had seasoned spare ribs, racks of spare ribs. Now, I normally only get the baby back ribs and season them myself, but they had this one that's kind of interesting. It was pepper and bourbon.
Okay.
And it was on sale. And I'm like, I've never tried that before, so I'm going to buy it. And I have to figure out how to cook them. because normally I do the ribs from scratch. I pull the skin off and mustard and all that sort of stuff. And so we got the smoker grill. I can smoke ribs really well. Ribs are great on a smoker grill. And so I bought a couple of racks of these. I'm going to look into how I should probably cook them. They may just be oven cooks, but I'm thinking about throwing them on smoker grill. So that's cool too. And let's see, new computer. Other than being sick and helping my mom buy groceries, I haven't done much in the last month or so. And computer.
Yeah, I can understand. I've been fighting off a terrible flu for what seems like a month now.
And I keep seeing these COVID tests you can get at the store for like $20 or something like that. It's something ridiculous. I'm like, I ain't spending $20 to find out I'm going to die. So,
I'll be able to figure that out easily enough myself.
I'm taking the $20 with me. God. Fuck you, you COVID test. I'm just going to die and take the money with me. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's kind of funny. I don't know about you guys, but every time I get sick, that's when everybody wants me to do something for them.
Oh.
It's what I call the paint my house syndrome. You're laying in bed suffering with Kleenex and, NyQuil and everything like that. And everybody's like, hey, you come over and paint my house. One of the problems of being a former soldier, nobody believes you get sick. You tell them you're not feeling good, you want to stay in bed, and they're like, no, you need to get up and do something.
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
I was employed for a living. I'm retired now. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. I don't have a chain of command telling me to get the fuck out of bed anymore. That's somebody else's problem. Yeah. I'm just going to lay here and die.
Yeah, you're coughing worse than I am today.
I think my Sudafed is wearing off. It's kind of like one of those things with Sudafed, they tell you not to take it with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then I don't want it. Well, I can't remember who the comedian was said he hurt himself playing football. He's a British comedian. And went to the doctor gave him some pain medication for it. Said, okay. Says, whatever you do not take this pain medication with alcohol. And he says, I don't want it to.
Pretty much.
What? No, I'd rather drink alcohol. Doc looks at him like, but you're in pain. Says,
I won't be for long.
Oh, so what's been going on news? Okay, biggest news I've seen on the news here in the last few days. Former Prince Andrew got to see what the back of a police car looks like. So good to see it. Good to see that. And the one I love was the comedy site had this thing about the poor guy, the advisor at the White House kept trying to explain to Donald Trump that Donald Trump can't pardon him because he's not an American citizen.
He's not American.
Donald Trump didn't get it. So what do you mean I can't pardon him?
Well, for one thing, you think that Etch-a-Sketch we gave you is an actual desktop computer.
Okay, I'm going to launch nuclear missiles on Iran. The cow says, it's, they wouldn't trust him with damn football.
In his case, the nuclear football even isn't a real pigskin.
Yeah, here's your nuclear football, sir. What do? You throw it really hard. Okay. Why is it say Nerf on the side? Oh, that's for nuclear energy Retaliation force. Yeah. Um,
Oh,
so anyway, it's funny when Donald Trump first ran for office and got elected, I was like, it'd be nice to have somebody that understands business in the White House. So, and he actually, okay, he kept one promise that no other president really did a good job on. Hey, Chris.
Hello. Sorry, I had to restart my router. It was bad.
Yeah, I've been having computer issues too. So anyway, Trump
Yeah, I
goes in and
heard
says,
about your speakers.
I'm going to shake up Washington. And by God, if he didn't keep that promise, of course he got, Biden beat him out. And of course, you saw how Biden wound up looking like pudding day at the old folks' home. So, and so Trump gets reelected because, let's face it, nobody wants Grandpa Biden eating pudding on the television. And so Trump gets it. And of course, Trump thinks now he's bulletproof. So, which was quickly proven wrong before he even got reelected. But
Well, that's the problem a lot of them make is once they get elected, they think that they can just go full.
I am in the most powerful office in the land. I can do whatever the hell I want to. And, Winchester makes fine ammunition. But if you can aim it right, the ammunition works. Okay. And
well, like I said, it's
yeah.
you, anyway, you don't go too far one way or the other. Most of America is middle of the road.
I haven't bothered to look it up yet, but I got thinking about it today. Okay. There is a 2-term limit on presidents in the United States.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that 2 terms total or 2 consecutive terms?
2 terms
total. Okay, so he's got 3.5 or 2.5 years left.
Yep.
Yep. He can't get elected again.
The only reason FDR
he can, not as president.
It was
he can elect as something else. Dog catcher.
Well, here's the thing. The most a person can actually serve legally as a president is 10 years. If you are vice president and 2 years into the term, the president resigns or dies or whatever, and you take over as president, you're still allowed to be elected twice as president on your own, but you can finish out.
So technically, they could do 12 years.
No, I think
no.
there's
10's the max. 10's the max. You, like I said, if you're vice president under a sitting president, 2 years have passed, you are allowed to finish out his presidency for those 2 years, and you can run for president twice if you get elected both times. So 10 years is the maximum you can serve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's a question: if you're vice president, and on the last day of his presidency, he dies.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been in office for 4 or 8 years, whatever. So on his last day, right before a new president is supposed to be elected and put in office, he dies. Vice president becomes president.
Okay, is this after the general election, or is it the last actual day before the transfer of power begins? If you did not,
it would probably be the last day, which would give him 3 months minus 3 months.
No, because the election is held before your actual term ends. So if the election was held, let's say it was November 6th.
Let's say the president died while running for re-election in August.
Okay.
Let's say the plane he was on crashed, the train he was on crashed, he was trying to cook fries at McDonald's and set the entire place on fire with fried oil.
Okay, you would serve out his term, but it would depend on whether you got elected president, because conceivably you would still be on the ballot because you were the vice president.
Right. but would, if the president died right there before the election, okay, so the vice president is now president, and everyone says, oh, he did such a great job, we're going to go ahead and vote for him, and he winds up winning the election. So does he get?
He gets another chance to run again because
he still gets two
it will
terms.
be under 10 years. You
Now,
have,
okay.
like
Let's
I said,
say
if
Trump
you're-
gets elected. Trump gets elected, announces his vice president. He's been in office for 2 days, and bam, he's gone. You know, whatever.
Well, then his vice
Does
president.
that president get 3.5 years plus?
Yeah, you get
years.
that. Plus, you get one chance at re-election because it's
One chance.
over
He wouldn't
the
get 2
2
chances.
years.
Right.
Yeah. 10
So
years is the max you can be president now.
Okay, gotcha.
You cannot be president any longer than 10 years.
When I was running for president, they did not have that on the job application. And
ironically, that was put in because FDR won 4 terms.
Yes. And if he hadn't died, may have won a 5th. You know.
Well, and Truman finished out his term, and he ran for election. And they were just absolutely sure he had lost. And you remember some of those news?
I love that. Dewey wins.
But he decided after he served 1 full term that he didn't want the aggravation anymore.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Okay. And all right. So anyway, all right. My biggest problem with Donald Trump as president is his lack of diplomatic skills. In my lifetime, he has been the least dignified president I've ever seen.
I wouldn't say it's just a lack of diplomacy. It's just a lack of tact.
Which is a lack of diplomacy.
Yes, but you can still be diplomatic without having tact, but you're more effective with tact.
Yeah. And
the problem is he's so used to business type environments.
Exactly.
Where he has the control and can get what he wants. He thinks that transfers to politics. In some cases, it can work.
And I love every time somebody and the reason I'm bringing this up is, of course, he's doing the tariff thing, and the Supreme Court said, no, you can't impose those tariffs on those people. So he's turning around and trying to impose universal tariffs on everybody, making an executive order and say, screw you, Supreme Court. And I love the fact that every time he tries to do some of this stuff, the courts smack him down, which you think a guy that's had so many businesses go bankrupt would figure out the courts actually get the last laugh, period, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that and my single biggest problem with Donald Trump, and it's one I would have actually forgiven him for if he had been more diplomatic, you know, he's a Yankee from New York, which is probably the second worst human being in the United States. You know, just if you're a Yankee from New York, you're just, you know, not even worth you're not worth the water it would take the fire department to put out you if you were on fire. Okay. Save the water. Water's worth something. Yankees aren't. So there's only one person. Okay. If Donald Trump met with Gavin Newsom and both of them burst into flames, put the water on Donald Trump. Okay. Just, you know, lesser of two evils.
Private chat.
What games do you play on your computer?
The one I've been playing, and it's okay. My brother Josh, who is a big IT guy, he's also a big gamer. He built a really cool gaming computer about 2-3 years ago, and it's really good. But something new came out, So he built a new gaming computer that's based on the same one that he had 2-3 years ago. Gave me the one that he had 2-3 years ago. Had to buy. He pulled a bunch of stuff out of it to build his new gaming computer. So he bought some stuff to get the older gaming computer back up and running. Gave me the older gaming computer. And bless his heart, bought me a video monitor and keyboard and mouse just for playing games.
Wow.
Yeah, I love this guy. So anyway, he's playing this game called Star Citizen. He plays a lot of games, but his big one is Star Citizen. He's actually got it. The game is not officially out yet. It is technically still in beta. It's been in beta for over 12 years.
If I'm not mistaken, that game was by John Roberts, who created Wing Commander.
Exactly. Chris Roberts.
Or Chris Roberts, yes.
Yeah. And that guy that did Wing Commander, and this is the Wing Commander was the space fighter game that he made. This is the universe that he's creating based on that, where you are a citizen of that universe doing all sorts of jobs. Yeah.
So are the Kilrathi in it?
No, they have long. Kilrathi took place like 300 years before this game took place.
Okay.
And there's been 2 more enemies since then. So
the
latest enemy is Vandal, or the new enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing is that was one of the first games that actually used live action cutscenes.
Exactly, this one does too, and it's got some great actors doing voice work for it too.
Yeah.
But
they made a movie that he directed, Dan.
Yes,
called Wing Commander, that had Freddie Prinze Jr. It had some aspects of the game in it, but I think Hollywood went a little bit their own way with the script and all.
They had to. I mean, there's only so much you can do with CGI and models and stuff like that. But
now, the cool thing is, the guy that played Biff in Back to the Future played Maniac in the games. In the movie, Matthew Lillard played Maniac.
Yeah. Let me see. Actually, I think the only reason Josh to get me into this game is he needs a tail gunner for his ships. Yeah. But this game, it's still in beta. It's still being run, but the entire game has been crowdfunded. All the development has been crowdfunded. They set a Guinness Book of World Records. They have gotten $1 billion in crowdfunding to fund this game over the last 12 years. And Josh has probably given about $500,000 of that. So it's kind of funny. Every time you contribute to the game, they call it war bonding. You buy certain ship packages, and that's how you fund the game, basically. And they give you ships to play in the game, and you get to play test them, which is pretty cool. But he's gone from captain to colonel to admiral to vice admiral to grand. They actually send you certificates.
Wow.
To show that you've been promoted. Okay, so he's now like a grand admiral in Star Citizen. And of course, he got me playing. The only thing I got to do now, I've got to get my next purchase for the computer is going to be a HOTUS setup where you got the 2 joysticks.
Okay.
And
basically a flight simulator.
Exactly. And the problem is there's so many different HOTUS setups out there. You've got some that have foot pedals, which are commonly referred to as helicopter HOTUS setups.
Yeah, you got pitch and yaw.
Exactly. And I've been meaning to talk with Josh about it. Josh, my brother Josh, he has a 3-year-old boy. B, his wife is pregnant with their second child and is due soon. So, and he, I told you, he works an IT job. The company he works for is down in Atlanta, and he gets to work remotely 3 days out of the week, and on the weekends.
There are
Too
two
late.
other people I would suggest you ask.
Hmm.
Uh, there are three actually. They may or may not, but they are technically savvy and they are gamers to a degree. One is Joe Bachman.
Right.
Another is Rich Asplund.
Right.
Another one is Nicholas Anthony Tucker.
Okay. They're all good. I'm not saying anything there. But Josh built the computer,
I understand.
which is why I want to talk to him first. But the problem is, I haven't actually seen him on the game in 2 weeks. Of course, I haven't been playing in the last 3-4 days. So that's,
Are you
And
going to get you some speakers?
I tried to hook my old. I had some speaker. I have some Sony Vio speakers. I tried to plug in, but they buzz.
Mm.
Not
Have
bad.
you updated the drivers for the sound card or the onboard sound or whatever?
Not yet.
I would look into that because that may help.
That's the other thing I want to talk to Josh about. But I think the reason they're buzzing is I think I've got them set too close to the transformers for the monitor and the computer. So it's
If you got good shielded speakers, they shouldn't be that big of an issue.
But to give you an idea of how old these speakers are, they still use the headphone jack.
Okay, there's still some that still use headphone jacks, but they have
Right.
better shielding. You could actually probably find a relatively inexpensive pair at Best Buy or
Yeah.
even Electronics Express might even have them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to talk to. Josh knows, oh yeah, just order it from so and so. Then it's kind of funny. I'm sitting here trying to figure crap out, punching buttons, stuff like that. He goes, no, just click. God. He makes a modern computer look like an Atari 2600. Okay, that's.
It sounds like Lindsay's son. He rearranges every keyboard he's got, pulls the keys off, and turns it into a Dvorak keyboard, and then changes the setup in the computer so it'll actually recognize the way he's rearranged the keys.
Mm.
I've always wondered about that. Some people do like Dvorak keyboards more, but of course, most of your gaming is set up for QWERTY. So
Yeah, I think it's all in what you get used to. He does a lot of programming, so maybe there's a benefit to Dvorak over QWERTY. I don't know.
I think it has more to do with. I notice a lot of left-handed people prefer Dvorak. I don't know if that's the big reason, but everyone I've ever met that likes Dvorak is left-handed. So let's see here.
Yeah, I've had people come up to a computer I was using and reach their right hand out for the mouse and discover I've moved it over to the left because my right wrist was injured at one time and I've just gotten used to mousing with my left hand. So also came in handy with some of the flight simulators that I used to play with.
Hey, John?
I could use the number key with my right hand and the joystick with my left. So
Yes.
Do you want a subwoofer with your speakers?
Probably not. I don't need that much sound.
Well, I found a 2.1 set, which are is one subwoofer and two additional speakers for $42 on Newegg.
doesn't sound bad.
It's not high powered, it's only 11 watts, but it still ought to be plenty enough for your gaming stuff. If you're interested, I'll shoot you the link.
It's all right. Like I said, I'm still. I got to save some money right now because we've been to Costco and I bought a bunch of beef and so on and so forth. So
Okay. Well, like I said, for a speaker and 2 speakers and a subwoofer, $42 ain't bad. Yeah, I did not realize that Star Citizen was crowdfunded.
really,
I also didn't realize it wasn't a fully released game because I'd seen pictures of people playing it and some of the shit.
it's okay. It's different than any other game out there because the beta is actually better than a lot of games out, but it still has a lot of bugs, and that's what they're still beta testing. Is
but
it's kind of funny. I was playing this game 3 years ago, roughly, and they came up with a patch where they're going to introduce a new cargo loading system for cargo. And whatever they did with the cargo loading system, my laptop would no longer play it. It just overloaded the video card and just would not run the game anymore. So I quit playing. Which is why Josh eventually gave me the computer sector. So I'm actually, even though I was fairly experienced back in the day, I'm having to relearn the whole damn thing again.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that's been added in those 3 years that I'm not up to.
When I think about a massive universe like that, one of the first things that comes to mind is EVE Online.
A lot like it. But give an example. When the game first started, they had 1-star system. They now have 3 that have come out since I quit playing 3 years ago. So you got Pyro and Nyx. And it's kind of weird because they changed. I knew it was coming because I've been reading up on it. So I just didn't get to see it happen. So now there's whole new rules. Stanton has law enforcement, sort of. Nyx and Pyro do not. They are lawless zones. So that's where all your PvP takes place. Pirates and bandits and robbers and oh my. So they used to try and make pirating work in Stanton. It didn't work very well. So.
One of the biggest that I knew of crowdfunding, Kickstarter slap type stuff was Brandon Sanderson's. I think he got $42 million. He's an author. He finished the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, and he had his own successful series.
Cool.
That's an awful lot of dang money for an author. Normally that stuff goes into games or art projects or, even movies or, stuff of that nature. But for an actual author to get that much, it's pretty remarkable. There was a lot of jealousy and envy and consternation that his getting that much money for his next. Of course, he bypassed the publishers. He didn't have to worry about deadlines or advances or any of that stuff.
It's something we might need to do at sci-fi conventions and other cons is actually start like building a crowdfunding fund just to bypass publishers so that publishers will actually have to start paying people worth a damn. If you don't pay them, we will.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of your conventions aren't literary conventions anymore.
True. But still, everybody that goes to a convention tends
Yeah.
to be very.
And that's another problem is a lot of the younger kids don't read anymore.
Oh, they do. It's just electronic and not paper.
To some degree, yes. But a lot of them don't.
They don't sit
A lot
down
of
with
them would rather watch movies or quick video reels or shorts or whatever than.
you know,
Yeah.
now that kids, like you said, aren't reading books as much, they're watching it on video. That's one of the things I've said. I've always said when somebody makes a movie based on a novel,
Mhm.
they need to get the screenplay needs to be as close to the novel as possible. Okay. Makes a better movie, in my opinion.
Yes. But also.
Nowadays, that kids are learning books from movies. It's horrible because you see a movie like Starship Troopers,
Mhm.
which was a really good book, Heinlein, but the movie wasn't real close to
Well,
his book. I mean, there's just so much that wasn't there.
well, another thing that you're dealing with when you're having a book made into a movie is you have the interpretation of either who's directing it,
Right.
who's producing it, or who's doing the screenplay. And if they feel like a novel is a certain way, they're going to present it in that way, and it may not be the way the author intended. So you have that to worry about. You also have to worry about how they feel the public would react to the movie, depending on which way the winds are blowing, or the attitudes of people, and quite honestly, what shape the economy's in. Because if the economy's doing well, people are going to generally feel a little bit better about stuff than if it's not doing well. You got all those factors in, and you also have the technology, because sometimes they can't really do the special effects or the designs or whatever that the author created in that universe.
Heinlein has some really good books, not just Starship Troopers. But the one and it's this idea I've had, because I'd love to find these guys and get them together and get them to make this movie. I would love to get Luc Besson, who did The Fifth Element and Valerian in the City of a Thousand Worlds. I would love to get him to do The Moon is a Harsh Mistress from Heinlein. Because I think his vision of what the future kind of looks like would go perfectly with that book.
I could see that.
I think that would work.
But again, you'd have to get the book, you'd have to get the movie fairly close to the book for it to work well. And what a lot of people don't know is that Moon is Harsh Mistress, there's actually 3 other books in the Heinlein series that go along with that book. So there is a 4-part series possible if they can get, decent directors, decent.
Well, another thing that you're dealing with is some of these books, if they translated into movies, they could have made 6 films from The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He only wanted to do 2 for The Hobbit, but they made him do 3.
I don't think they made him do 3 because they still left stuff out of The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's just so much detail.
You remember this guy named Tom Bombadil? Ooh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Was he in the Hobbit books? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that goes right down to
Be like Star Wars
what you were
without Obi-Wan
saying.
Kenobi. That's we don't need Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's just some old fart gets killed at the end. Anyway.
Yeah. Uh, Producer, director reads a book and decides which part of the story they want to tell
Yeah.
so that they can go into more detail on that part instead of the whole worldview.
Also, there's
Here,
another situation I forgot to mention. It also depends on what they think they can get the studios to approve.
well, I'll give you an example of why I think producers aren't worth the bullet it would take to shoot them with. Um, when they were in 1938, they were making The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
1936, 1938, somewhere in that time frame. It came out in 38.
Mm-hmm.
They're making The Wizard of Oz. They wanted to get Judy Garland to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
The producer said, "Nah, it takes too long. It has nothing to do with the story. Let's cut it out." It only became one of the most famous songs in the history of movies, and these idiots wanted to cut it.
Yeah. You also have to have people who are doing post production making decisions on what's getting left in and what's hitting the cutting room floor. They have sense and a sensibility for the story that's being told. There are some things that you could probably cut down some of the scene on, but you still need to leave that the
The
most
core
important
of the
parts of that
scene.
scene in there. And there's other parts that you're like, why in the hell is this even in here? Maybe somebody that's really into that movie or that story or whatever loves it, and that's fine, but it might be something that, hey, you could have put more of this in here, which I found really more compelling than this part that eh, doesn't necessarily move the story along that much. I mean, I guess it's nice additional info to have, but
Yeah. It's like I came up with an idea for a series of 4 stories, wound up writing the fourth one first, and then I started
mm,
writing the third one, and I decided the first two didn't need to be told. They were just world building that I needed to know to be able to
mm,
write the story, but the reader didn't need.
yeah. But George Lucas wrote the story of Luke Skywalker when he realized that he really wanted to tell the story of Anakin. And it's not that Luke wasn't, fun and wasn't a compelling character, but, the shit that led Anakin to becoming Darth was really,
Uh huh. That was drama.
yeah, and the way that Palpatine manipulated him was like a conductor directing an orchestra.
Well, that's what it takes sometimes. If you want something to happen a certain way, you got to be willing to play puppet master to everybody in that circumstance.
And you also got to think about the self control that Palpatine had to have to be patient to wait for the right moment for everything to take place. And you stop and think about it. He's one devious little shit.
Well, that was kind of his role.
I know, but it would almost be interesting and fascinating for them to do a story about him and his rise to power, up to him becoming Supreme Chancellor and then being given emergency powers and all that stuff.
For all we know, he may have had his own fall from grace. There
Well,
just wasn't enough backstory on him in the movies.
he defeated Darth Plagueis, and Darth Plagueis supposedly found a way to defeat death. So, anyway, it's a rich world, and if you can develop a universe or whatever that is so rich that you can tell so many different stories in,
Mm-hmm.
you've really given the world a gift.
I mean, yeah, well, you got this thing that gets you funded that you have to do first. Then, when you get the opportunity, you can tell a story off on the far side somewhere. It just barely references the story that got you funded
Well,
and bounce around and basically just flesh out your universe that way.
the interesting thing about Star Wars is that none of the studios really wanted to do anything with it until Fox came along, and I can't think of his first name, but it's the guy that played in the movie Shane. His son was head of Fox Studios at the time. It's
Oh,
Ladd, I think, last name.
Alan Ladd.
I think it was his son, but I think Alan's the one that played Shane. I could be mistaken. It actually could be Alan that was head of Fox Studios, but he believed in George and he believed in Star Wars. And he got an awful lot of crap for it, and I think he wound up having to resign right before it got released. But the amount of money that movie made, and the merchandising rights that George Lucas secured from it, because they're like, oh, this is not going to make it. Yeah, you can have all the merchandising rights. And he was basically able to fund everything from the merchandising rights that he had from Star
mm-hmm.
Wars.
It pays to believe in your story.
Well, it also pays for him to know what needs to be done because nobody else could create the special effects. He created the industrial light and magic to create
Mm-hmm.
the special effects, and he found some of the most creative people in Hollywood to do those special effects. And Ben Burt, who developed some of the sounds for the movie, the blaster fires, the sound of the tie engines, and all that stuff, also added to the wonder. I mean, and the opening scene where you got that big Star Destroyer closing in on the blockade runner and it's going overhead and you got all that sound coming. I mean, I know a lot of people think now, oh, that's nothing. Well, it wasn't nothing at the time. There was nothing else like it at the time. He influenced a lot of filmmakers. And as good as a director as Lucas was, he was much better as a producer. Because one of the best things he ever produced was a little film called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm.
Of course, him and Spielberg were both buddies and college students of Francis Ford Coppola's School of Film at University of Southern California.
Well, it helps to learn from people around you.
Yeah. And speaking of which, his student film, THX 1138, or 138, Um,
11:38.
yeah. Had Robert Duvall in it, if I'm not mistaken, and he passed away recently. Rest in peace. Darn fine actor. He was 95.
Mm. Finally got to see that movie. I think that's another thing that the success of Star Wars did was give Lucas his chance to have what got filmed re-edited and
Mhm.
updated a bit. I don't know if they actually went back and filmed extra stuff or if it was just a re-edit from
Well,
something from a
they
fresh copy.
there's rumors that it never happened, but I could have swore one of the several times I got taken to that movie when it was released in theaters originally. There was a scene where Luke was talking with Biggs before Biggs left for the academy.
That was a director's cut because it got cut from the original movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also a scene of him hanging out with his friends at Tossie Station, and that's where he met Biggs, and Biggs was running off the academy.
Yeah.
Well,
It's fascinating.
Was also
Back in a moment.
Yeah. Q Stark was also in the film. Her role got cut out. I think she was I don't know if she was his love interest or girlfriend or wannabe girlfriend, but she was one of the friends that I think was at the station where he wanted to pick up the power converters.
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of that stuff wound up in the Alan Dean Foster novelization that got put out under Lucas's name.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the theater and it just different cut. But
Yeah,
there's
Alan
a
Dean
lot of
Foster.
there's a lot of stuff you can put into a book that you just can't put into a 2-hour movie. There's
Yeah.
not time.
Yeah.
And they found out that with well, they found it out early, but it really got brought home with the Lord of the Rings movies.
I think Anthony Daniels just turned 80 years old.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
He was talking about he thought Alan Dean Foster did a better job or did the best job of getting C-3PO's quirks and character traits, and he thought he did the best job of writing him that anybody else in any other novelization that he was in, the character was in. You know, from what I understand, especially with R2D2 and Kenny Baker, Anthony Daniels was not the easiest person to get along with.
That's what I've read.
But apparently, he gets along well with the taller adults. And like I said, there's a number of what aren't canon, but I think should be canon novels with R2D2 and C-3PO that, Anthony Daniels didn't think C-3PO was as well portrayed in those novels as Alan Dean Foster's work. But I think the Heir to the Empire trilogy should have been the sequels. But I think Disney didn't want to pay Timothy Zahn, so.
That's entirely possible.
Plus, you would also had to have Harrison, Carrie, and Mark all agree to it. And Harrison hated being Han Solo. He loved the money it made him, but he hated being Han Solo. because he just wasn't a science fiction fan. Now, he was great as Indiana Jones. He was perfect in American Graffiti, driving that car with the cowboy hat. And, of course, numerous other roles that he did was great portrayal of. He's just, like I said, he just never really was that big of a science fiction fan or a Star Wars fan. Like I said, he loved the money it made him because, he doesn't have to work another day in his life if he don't want to.
Right.
He hasn't had to for a long time.
Well, you got to admit, it's probably more fun than sawing boards and driving nails.
Yeah, but, that's one good thing about it. I mean, I can't remember the exact name of the film, but the one that he was in with Anne Hesh was a lot of fun.
It was 10 days and nights, 7
Yeah, I
days
think
and 7
so.
nights, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I thought she was an underrated actress.
Oh, this is confusing. My iPad stalled out the show and stopped. And now we're totally out of sync. But nobody's been commenting, so.
I haven't seen it. You seem to be in sync to me.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no. The iPad is out of sync with
The show.
StreamYard. So by the time we hit the end stream, I'll still have 30 minutes worth of show here on the iPad. Just let it keep playing in the background so we get the extra watch hours.
So how are Joe and Donna doing? Anybody heard?
Joe has walking pneumonia.
You mean limping pneumonia?
Whatever. Supposedly you can walk, but
Waddling pneumonia might be.
Yeah. Yeah, supposedly you got pneumonia, but you're still able to walk. But as you mentioned, Joe hasn't been really able to walk good since he had his surgery on his back.
Yeah,
he got hover around pneumonia.
Don't joke; it might come to that.
Oh, he had a scooter at outside.
Sorta, yeah.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Unless it gets stolen by that squirrel that ran off with his crackers.
Oh, Lord.
If I could remote control a scooter and go to the taxidermist and get a raccoon and put it on the scooter like it's driving it, and then use the remote control to ride the scooter.
We have some mutual friends at LibertyCon that could arrange such an occasion. Yeah, one of them might even be able to build you an animatronic raccoon.
You can build me a raccoon that'll pilot a scooter and flip a bird. I'll be happy.
There's some people we probably know, or we know some people who know some people that could do that.
Be like, hey, Joe, is that your raccoon?
That would be hilarious. And so doubt he goes back and watches the show at this point. He might watch some of it, but I don't think he's going to watch this part.
You never know. Rumors do fly.
It depends on if anybody sees it and tells them about it. Now, if they don't tell them about it, besides, that would be one of like, we need to see if this actually happens. And if it actually does happen, somebody needs to video it. And make copies and sell them. Because people would buy that shit.
America's Funniest Home Videos used to pay you if you won their video contest.
Yeah, well, I ain't worried about internet and that. I just know there's a number of people in the fandom circuit that would buy it. $5, yeah, I'll take that.
You know,
You charge more than that, you might have trouble moving copies, but for that price, you could definitely move copies of it.
Well, you know, people would buy a videotape copy of the Star Wars Christmas special, taped off a TV and copied and recopied and recopied and recopied.
Well, that's the thing. George has done his damnedest to bury it, but couldn't quite do it. And yeah, the songs were cheesy, but it actually had some, it had B. Arthur in it, had Art Carney in it, and a couple other folks that I think Harvey Korman was in it.
Wasn't there an animated segment that showed
Boba Fett was in the animated?
Yeah.
That was where they introduced Boba Fett. Was it the Star Wars Christmas special?
And that character became so popular that he wound up being in Empire Strikes Back 2 years later.
Got his own book.
And he even made it into the prequels.
Which is not a bad thing.
Yep. It's not.
Oh.
That's odd.
What?
Oh, I know Joe Dog will miss this part, but apparently Katie Sackhoff, who was in the Battlestar Galactica remake, was at a show with Tricia Helfer, who was also in the Battlestar Galactica remake. And Tricia was shocked when she found out that Katie didn't know what Buc-ee's was and never been. And somebody had a little plush Buc-ee doll and handed it to Tricia, and she took it out of Tricia's hand. She stretched the arms and she wrapped it around her mic. And she planned on keeping it. And Tricia explained that she would probably be disappointed when she found out that Buc-ee's was a gas station, but it's like a gas station that's an amusement park.
Six Flags over diesel fuel.
They're actually building 2 more in Georgia.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's completed yet, but they're building one in Murfreesboro, Tennessee as well. Which I know they've got one near Knoxville.
Yeah.
Don't know if they've got any others in Tennessee other than the one that they're building in Murfreesboro or not.
Been to the one, I believe it's on the way back from Dalton.
Yeah, the one in Calhoun.
Yeah. I've been to that one, and yeah, it's big. It's got a lot of stuff. Food's good. Uh,
I've
I
been to it and one in Warner Robins. I
I
haven't been
have
to
never
one in
been to
Brunswick.
one while they were cooked, while they had brisket out. So
oh,
I've been to the one in Calhoun twice, and I've been to the one in Auburn, Alabama, twice.
Okay, I
But
didn't know Auburn had one.
it was always like 2 and 4 in the morning.
Hmm. Good Night Ranger song.
excuse
4
me.
in the morning, that is.
Yeah, I'm going to have to run down the hallway. I was hoping to wait till we closed out the show, but I'll be right
That's
back.
all right. Yeah, I've not been to the one in Brunswick yet. I've been to the one in Warner Robins a couple of times. I've been to the one in Calhoun several times. The one in Calhoun, it's kind of between it and Adairsville. It's on the south end of Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
The exit that it's off of, I think, is one of the newest in Georgia on I-75.
I believe you're correct.
Because it wasn't even in existence 10 years ago. I don't believe. The interesting thing is there's a rest area in between that exit and the next exit. I think 306 is the Daresville exit, and 310 is the Bucky's Union Grove Calhoun exit. And the rest area is right in between the two.
Oh, what I was going to say earlier is my StreamYard screen does not show times.
I don't know.
I'm not seeing how long the show's been running or how many people are watching.
Yeah, I can't see that. There's
I'm not seeing any of the gizmos for that.
I've got private chat, comments, recording, and
It normally pops up right here on the screen. Oh wait, there it is, live. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 50 something seconds.
Oh yeah, that's a top.
And one person watching.
Probably Dan on his iPad. Yeah, I've got to do some work on my desktop. I've about got everything done, but apparently the instruction manuals for cases are not very good anymore. So apparently I had the little wires that connect to the front control panel where the power button and the reset button is wrong. So I got to figure out what I've done wrong and finally get my desktop running, because I've about got everything else ready to go. It's just when I turned the power on, it wasn't. There would be a little bit of, and then it would go off, and I'm like, "What the heck's wrong?" And I noticed that the power switches to the main power and reset button weren't working. So apparently, I had something connected wrong, or not connected at all, and of course, I promptly disconnected the power, and because I didn't want to fry anything, and I got to figure out how to get the right things to connect to the right spot. Instruction manuals for computer cases aren't worth crap because they don't really give good instructions. All they've got is a diagram and some arrows and figure 1, figure 1A, and figure 1B, and all that, and it's just, ugh. And USB 3s are close enough to serial ATA connectors now that I can get external optical drives without having to worry about putting an internal one in and the connections for it. Like I said, the speed drop off isn't significant enough to be a problem. I wish I'd known that before I bought all these parts, but live and learn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah, I need to pull this 3.5-inch floppy drive out of my stack of external drives here, because I don't believe I've used it in years. So
yeah.
it's just gathering dust. I'm not going to take it to a pawn shop or anything because
No.
I've still got boxes of floppy drives. Hell, I've even got a 5 1/4 floppy drive in one of the other computers I built just for,
Just for the halibut?
I had programs that came on 5 1/4
Yeah.
floppies. That
I remember 5 1/4. I remember zip drives. For a brief time, they were popular.
Yeah.
You remember the digital tape drives?
Yeah, never had one, but I remember them.
I even think they had like 8 1/4 or 8.5-inch floppy disk drives back in the day.
Oh yeah, I've seen some. They looked bigger than record albums.
Mm-hmm.
There's something like 15-inch diameter.
No, I never saw those. I think the biggest I'd ever seen was somewhere between 8 and 10 inches. I like the 3.5-inch floppy drives because they came in those little plastic enclosures that were a little more stable, and you didn't have to worry about being so careful with it. You bent the
Yeah.
You could put one in your pocket and not worry about bending it.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed those a little bit. Something else I saw the other day that I wanted to bring up tonight. I think Del Taco has closed all of its Georgia locations again.
Again?
Yeah. I would love to see that place do well. It's just I don't think they generate enough economies of scale to make it profitable enough to last because their prices are a little bit higher than Taco Bell, but the food is so good there.
Yeah. Uh, I have been going to Del Taco over in Clark County, and seemed like every Del Taco location, eventually somebody'd build a Taco Bell right next to it and charge less for food that wasn't anywhere near as good, and just kind of outsell them.
Yeah.
So they eventually closed down.
Well, to be honest, when Taco Bell had their 59.79 and 99-cent menu, you could get a lot of food for a relatively inexpensive amount.
Yep.
And like I said, Del Taco couldn't compete. They had better food, but they had higher prices because the quality was better. And if you can't generate enough, like I said, economies of scale, volume to offset that, and sadly enough, some of the Del Tacos were just not in the best locations, to be honest. And
Well,
that's not necessarily the neighborhood. It's just the part of the street that they were on and areas that they were difficult to get into and out of.
yep. There was one on Atlanta Highway. You had to be going towards downtown to be able to get to it. There was no light to let you get in to their parking lot. You couldn't make a left turn across 4 lanes.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's one of the problems with the one in Fort Oglethorpe, is it's in the old Kmart parking lot,
Yeah.
and the access to it is horrible.
Well, it's same with the one in Dalton. It's at the old Kmart Kroger Shopping Center off Glenwood / Cleveland Highway. And it's okay to get access to, but it's not in an ideal spot for easy ingress and out egress.
well,
And I just saw the one in Calhoun had closed, and I think they said something about all the Georgia locations have closed.
I hate to hear that, but then again, my heart belongs to the taco stand now.
Yeah.
Well, let's wake up Dawn.
Speaking of tacos,
Yeah. Apparently, there's a rumor that the infamous taco truck will be reborn and reopened.
that's where Del Taco made the mistake. They should have had taco trucks.
Like I said,
Hey,
their food's just too dang good. But like I said, the price and the access to
that's the thing. They have to build a building. They have to have a parking lot. And if they had a taco truck, they could have gone wherever they wanted to. And
Yeah, found out where the market actually was best.
Yeah, but you got a lot of things that don't like having food trucks at, like the Trade Center of Chattanooga.
I don't think that trade center's going to last much longer. They're pissing everybody off.
Yeah.
Well, when you're the only space in town that can host an event, until somebody builds something else that can compete with it, you kind of shit out of luck.
Not really. People will vote with their wallets, and I mean, hell, even the Marriott's having trouble keeping up with them because of their stupid damn policies. Won't be long till Hotel 6 runs them out of business just because people can afford to go to Motel 6.
Well, and you know what I'm waiting on somebody to do is build a hotel near the First Tennessee Pavilion where they have the Chattanooga Market. There's you an idea.
Don't think it's within my retirement budget, but somebody might take it as a good idea.
I don't think they've really thought about it because it is kind of out of the way, but you know, with the lookouts moving to that end of town,
Yeah.
and they're not a lot of property you can put a hotel near the lookouts. That's one of the few places that has some land that you could put a hotel near there. So,
well, time to say goodnight, everybody.
Yep.
We got about 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I apologize for delaying getting on the show, but
well, you can't help hardware problems. I mean, just like John couldn't help his laptop not letting him be here for the last few times. So,
well, I would sit down and try and figure. I would sit down and try and figure it out, and well,
get frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does happen.
And that part is I didn't want to take anything off the new computer and put it back on the old computer to get, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, I just got on the new one.
I think the only reason my laptop lets me do anything is because it refuses to upgrade to Windows 10, and the desktop upgraded itself to Windows 11. Well, it's 10 and a half. It's 11 light. It won't fully upgrade to 11. Don't know why. Hell, there was a long time when I couldn't get a Windows update that would actually fully install and get to 98% and then start going back, pulling stuff off that it had just installed. So eventually it got to some point to where it says it's 11, but I know there's a lot of stuff that 11 has that this one just does not include. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night. It's good seeing all y'all.
Good seeing you too.
And remember, wherever you go, there you are. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.